The ACLU has long been synonymous with freedom of speech. They defended it from even the most hated groups like the Nazis, the Klan, even the Jehovah's Witnesses. It was never about what you were saying. It was about the liberal principle of your right to say it. Well, they have new guidelines now, namely that before taking a case, ACL lawyers should consider if the case might cause offense to marginalized groups, or if a potential client's values are contrary to our values. Contrary to our values? Your values are free speech.
Even the Jehovah's Witnesses understood the point. It was never about agreeing with the speech. It was about defending the principle that people have the right to speak. Yet now, ACL lawyers are being told to weigh whether a case might offend marginalized groups or if a client's beliefs clash with the organization's own. But ACL's core value has always been free speech. That's what you were created to protect. Clip 2. After the whole woke carnival finally began to wind down, you'd think corporations would wake up too.
Opposite of what you always were, you have to change your name. It's become a trend in America these days, morphing into something completely different from what you were founded as, but still pretending you're the old you. TLC stands for the Learning Channel. They used to have shows like Learn to Read and Ready, Set, Learn. Here's some of their present and recent offerings. Cake Boss, Gypsy Sisters, Toddlers and Tiaras, Extreme Couponing, What Not to Wear, My Teen is Pregnant and So Am I. 1,000-Pound Sisters and Alaskan Women Looking for Love. And that's just the shows about the Palins.
You've become the opposite of what you started out as, so much so that you might as well change your name. It's a growing trend in America. Institutions reinvent themselves into something completely different, yet still insist they're the same as ever. Take TLC. It once meant the Learning Channel, home to programs like Learn to Read and Ready, Set, Learn. Now, its lineup includes Cake Boss, Gypsy Sisters, Toddlers and Tiaras, Extreme Couponing, What Not to Wear, My Teen is Pregnant, and So Am I, 1,000-Pound Sisters, and Alaskan Women Looking for Love. And that's just the Palin-themed content. Meanwhile, some companies still cling to self-defeating dogma, dragging down stock prices and torching their own credibility. Enter Bill Maher, the anti-woke crusader, walking straight into the fire to expose the hypocrisy live on air.
History Channel has no history, and MTV has no music. I'm just saying, you can buy a petting zoo and turn it into a bondage dungeon, but you gotta change the sign.
TLC once lived up to its name as the Learning Channel. Shows like Learn to Read actually taught America something. Now the lineup is Cake Boss, Gypsy Sisters, Toddlers and Tiaras, and Extreme Couponing. What used to be education has collapsed into pure spectacle. Maher argues TLC didn't simply drift off course. It threw its compass overboard, chasing applause from the outrage-hungry crowd.
Tossed its compass overboard in pursuit of applause from the outraged crowd.
This year Playboy put a gay man on the cover, which I guess we're supposed to celebrate, even though it was 2021 and there's already a dozen magazines for gay guys, 13 if you count Martha Stewart.
The arts in A&E are long gone. What was once a home for symphonies and documentaries has turned into deep-fried dynasty, hoarders, storage wars, ghost hunters, and psychic kids. Entertainment for anyone who thought TLC was too intellectual. Maher's verdict: the A in A&E has disappeared, leaving nothing but empty entertainment.
The same thing is going on with the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, which now celebrates all kind of bodies except, the good kind. Was it really such a crime against humanity to have one magazine once a year that was about finding creative ways for supermodels to hide their nipples? Now it looks like it's edited by the Huffington Post.
Playboy, once a symbol of boldness and iconic identity, has now placed a gay man on its cover, an attempt to seem progressive rather than purposeful. Instead of honoring the legacy that defined its rise, the magazine has drifted into performative virtue, chasing trends despite the existence of outlets already dedicated to LGBTQ audiences. What once championed beauty, edge, and masculine confidence now feels like a brand searching for relevance instead of staying true to its roots.
Valentine's Day which was always a day to celebrate coupledom. It wasn't complicated. Flowers, chocolates, blah. And yet, every year now, I more and more hear this idea that Valentine's Day is also a day to celebrate being alone. Be your own Valentine. That's right, on the one day was specifically set aside to honor bonding between two people. Don't do that. Make it about the opposite of that. Be your own Valentine. Get your own cheap, stale chocolates at CVS.
The Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue now highlights every type of body, shifting far from its origins as a showcase for supermodel beauty and artistic photography. What once set the standard for glamour now feels shaped by ideological pressure rather than vision. The trend is unmistakable: masculinity diminished, femininity redefined, and a long-standing legacy traded for cultural signaling.
The Boy Scouts of America used to be an organization for boys because girls have cooties. But now the Boy Scouts accept girls, which I guess is inclusive, but it ignores the very important need for boys to sometimes get together as boys to fart in a sleeping bag and laugh at that, which girls don't find funny. It also ignores the fact that there has always also been a scout troop for girls. You may have heard of it, the Girl Scouts.
7. TV shows are packed with perfect moms and clueless dads, where masculinity becomes the punchline and femininity stays off limits. Even Valentine's Day, once about celebrating couples, has turned into a self-love spectacle. If you're single and hoping to find a partner, suddenly that's something to be ashamed of. Maher calls out how tradition keeps getting twisted into ideology.
Can't anything just be what it is anymore? Weight Watchers used to be a club for people to lose weight, back when that was a good thing. Now we're so through the looking glass that obesity, the absolute undeniable #1 cause for ill health and death in America, is called body positivity. And people are shamed for losing weight. It happened to Adele. Weight Watchers are so intimidated, they changed their name to WW. Why not just call yourselves Wait, Don't Tell Me?
The Boy Scouts, once a place for boys to learn, bond, and grow, now welcome girls. Inclusion may sound noble, but the Girl Scouts already filled that role. Maher highlights the absurdity. What was once sensible tradition is now blurred. Discipline and teamwork give way to performative progress.
Before taking a case, ACL lawyers should consider if the case might cause offense to marginalized groups, or if a potential client's values are contrary to our values. Contrary to our values? Your values are free speech and the First Amendment. Those are your values. Your whole purpose in life is not to be worried about offense to marginalized groups, because we understand that free speech is an even more important value than never being offended.
Wait.
Before taking a case, ACL lawyers should ask whether it might offend marginalized groups or conflict with a client's values. But our core values, free speech and the First Amendment, come first. Our mission isn't to avoid offense, it's to defend the right to speak freely. Similarly, Weight Watchers, once a club focused on losing weight, is now WW. What began as self-love has shifted into body positivity activism that glorifies obesity and shames those seeking health. Maher warns it's a ticking time bomb disguised as empowerment, dismissing science and common sense.
Can't anything just be what it is anymore? Weight Watchers used to be a club for people to lose weight, back when that was a good thing. Now we're so through the looking glass that obesity, the absolute undeniable #1 cause for ill health and death in America, is called body positivity. And people are shamed for losing weight. It happened to Adele. Weight Watchers are so intimidated, they changed their name to WW. Why not just call yourselves Wait, Don't Tell Me?
The ACLU, once champions of fearless free speech, now tiptoes around causing offense. An organization founded on courage has turned into a stage for pandering politics. Wokeness isn't progress, It's cultural decay dressed as moral superiority. Defending feelings has replaced defending rights, and the backbone of liberty has grown soft.
Valentine's Day, which was always a day to celebrate coupledom. It wasn't complicated. Flowers, chocolates, blah. And yet, every year now, I more and more hear this idea that Valentine's Day is also a day to celebrate being alone. Be your own Valentine.
TLC, A&E, MTV, even the History Channel. Once sources of culture, now peddle chaos, spectacle, and ideology. Ma exposes the hypocrisy. These networks cling to familiar names while abandoning their original missions. Authenticity is silenced, tradition erased, and genuine entertainment replaced by confusion.
Taking a case, ACL lawyers should consider if the case might cause offense to marginalized groups, or if a potential client's values are contrary to our values. Contrary to our values? Your values are free speech and the First Amendment. Those are your values. Your whole purpose in life is not to be worried about offense to marginalized groups, because we understand that free speech is an even more important value than never being offended.
From TV and magazines to civil rights groups, anything founded with purpose has been hijacked by virtue signaling. Strength is mocked, logic dismissed, heritage forsaken. Ma's crusade isn't political, it's common sense. Destroying tradition isn't enlightenment, and appeasing outrage isn't progress.